Missio Mesa leaders, there is great beauty in what we get to do together. I know that some of the work is hard, and so even this month we're taking a few different pockets of time to encourage you and then hopefully allow you to encourage one another as you process through these different facets of what it looks like to lead in a Missio community. Today's topic is courage. Courage. It takes courage to do what you're doing. I know it might seem like this is normal everyday life. This is what I do. This is what I signed up for. This is just how life is lived. But let me tell you something. Not everyone chooses to live their lives being poured out for the sake of others. Not everyone responds to the call of Jesus to faithfully take up their cross and follow him. Not everyone decides that it's worth the time, the energy, and the money to build together a band of disciples to see small pockets of a city reached with the good news of Jesus. Not everyone does that. It takes some courage, maybe a little foolishness, maybe a little bit foolhardiness, but it definitely takes courage. And I want you to realize that. I want you to realize that as you follow Jesus and lead others to do the same, that you are taking an act that depends on the Spirit of the living God to actually act in order for anything to take place. I was reading in Joshua, Old Testament. We're going Old Testament today. Reading in Joshua, and he writes these words to the people of Israel. They're the words that are stated and they're coming from God. It says, "Be strong and courageous because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey the law of my servant Moses who gave it to you. Don't turn from it to the right or to the left that you may be successful wherever you go." 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for your Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." And that's the piece I want us to pick up on. Where does courage come from as you call together a group of people to follow Jesus in making and maturing and multiplying disciples? Where does that come from? I think there's a lot of answers that probably could be used here, but think about this one. The call to Joshua to be courageous was that the Lord, their God, was with him. The God who'd been faithful to Moses, the God who'd been faithful to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God who created all things was with them. And that was meant to induce courage for that precarious and treacherous work ahead, the discouraging work ahead, the at times seemingly unfruitful work ahead, at times defeating work ahead. The reality that God, the true and living God, was with them was meant to bring them courage. Fast forward to Matthew 28. Do you remember not the Great Commission, but the Great Command that's in that? The final sentence of what we call the Great Commission says this: "And remember, I am with you even to the very end of the age." I think what Jesus is reminding his disciples of is the same thing that God was reminding Joshua of, that for the work ahead, which is discouraging, which can be daunting, which has a lot of disappointments, the fact that God is still with us should bring us courage. So whatever you have to do this week, whether it is planning a meal, whether it is serving your neighbors, whether it is having a really difficult conversation with someone who needs to be submitting to the ways of Jesus but isn't currently, whether it's parenting your kids in an extremely hard season, or whether it's loving a neighbor who's extremely difficult, whether it's facing your own insecurities and you're going to be the one teaching this week, remember this: have courage because God is actually with you. If you've been doing the reflections as you go along, here's an invitation. Reflect on this, whether it's with your leadership team or on your own with a journal. How does the fact that God is with you give you courage for some of the more difficult moments that you're in? How does it give you courage for those difficult moments you're in? The conversations, the seasons, the relationships, the seemingly dead-ended discipleship that you're engaged in. Remember that he's with you. The resurrected King of all, Jesus, is with you. He has not left you. How does that give you courage? Jot down some thoughts and then enter into your work this week full of hope, full of courage, because God is with you, and so you can press in with courageous ideas. Keep investing in courageous people and even build the sort of systems that take courage to live in, because God is with you. Love you guys. Pray.